First tonight, the nation comes together to help Boston stay strong on the one-year anniversary of the tragic marathon bombings.
Together, we held each other in the face of terror. We grieved in the face of tremendous loss, and we grew in the face of adversity.
Each step forward is a step away from the past and a step towards a new tomorrow.
We are humbled by what we have been through and proud of what it has made us.
It's a day of heavy emotion, reflection, and support as Boston pays tribute to the lives lost and those forever changed in last year's tragic attack.
Tonight, we remember 8-year-old Martin Richard, 23-year-old Lindsay Liu, and 29-year-old Crystal Campbell, who were all killed by the bombing, as well as Officer Sean Collier, who was allegedly gunned down by the bombing suspects days later.
Today's remembrances began with a wreath laying on Boylston Street this morning, attended by relatives of the innocent victims.
And from there, about 2,000 guests attended an emotional invitation-only ceremony, including bombing survivors, former Boston Mayor Tom Menino, and Vice President Joe Biden.
We hurt too. And
they'll see you, they hear you.
We are Boston. We are America. We respond. We endure. We overcome. And we own the finish line.
And at 2:49 this afternoon, a moment of silence was observed at the finish line, marking exactly 1 year since the first bomb exploded.
And as we remember last year's tragedy, preparations move forward for this year's Boston Marathon, which is now just 6 days away.
We have live in-depth coverage tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Todd Wallace is standing by live in Boston.
But first, Eyewitness News reporter Walt Buteau joins us now live from the newsroom with more on today's emotional tributes to the victims.
There were 3,000 in that crowd you just saw, but it was easy to spot the ones who had the greatest impact. In an auditorium decorated with big names, including Governor Patrick and Vice President Biden.
This is an important day for the survivors.
The stars were people like dancer Adrian Haslett Davis. She went to last year's marathon with her husband, an Air Force captain who had just returned from Afghanistan, uninjured. The explosions took her lower left leg and seriously injured his foot. She brought laughs, tears, and applause as she looked back at their year of recovery.
That no milestone is too small to celebrate. Even walking into a non-handicapped bathroom stall for the first time doing a happy dance.
As Patrick Downs took the stage, you couldn't tell he was walking on a prosthetic. This survivor offered a tribute to the four who didn't.
We remember those who died as pieces of us. The intellectual charm of Lindsay, Sean's commitment to justice, Crystal's infectious smile, and the childhood charm of Martin.
Today, I will not focus on the past, but be mindful of our successes and thank those who have helped us take our first steps, reclimb our first mountains, and reclaim our lives.
Next week, we will run again. But on this day, in this place, in remembrance and resolve, we gather Boston strong.
And tonight at 6, more from the survivors and some poignant words from former Mayor Thomas Menino. In the newsroom, Walt Buteau, Eyewitness News.
It was a difficult day for many in Boston, reliving a traumatic tragedy most would prefer to forget.
But the warmth of today's emotional tributes is helping the still shaken city move forward.
Our in-depth coverage continues live from Boston now with Eyewitness News reporter Todd Wallace.
And Mike and Shannon, the tribute from the Hynes Convention Center to the raising of the flag to the moment of silence confirmed for a nation what this city is already known. The slogan is Boston Strong, and Boston is strong. The wet, gloomy, and windy weather could not dampen the emotions of those who watched the moving tribute for victims and first responders of the Boston Marathon bombing. Kathy Callahan works for the Boston Athletic Association and describes the event as both beautiful and mournful.
It was pretty awesome. It was a little bit of laughter, a little bit of, tears, but it was really, really nice. It was a great tribute to Boston and everybody that was here from start to finish.
There was a citywide moment of silence at 2:49. the moment the first of 2 crude backpack bombs exploded. And then the toll of Boston church bells could be heard throughout Boston, a moment when thousands across an entire city reflect on the same tragic event.
Absolutely beautiful tribute. Unfortunately, I wish it never happened. A lot of emotion on many sides of the aisle.
This is what I love about Boston is that I think not fewer people, but more people will show up this weekend and support everyone that's running. And that's Boston.
And again, the event very respectful, beautiful, even peaceful. We've talked a lot about those who were killed in the Boston Marathon tragedy and, of course, the hundreds more that were injured. But coming up at 6 o'clock, we met a couple of people who say their wounds were more emotional, and they say this tribute was very therapeutic. We'll hear their story again coming up at 6 o'clock. But for now, reporting live in Boston, Todd Wallace, Eyewitness News.